Getting hurt has typified the spirit of the Red Sox. He and Tony Pena have thrown the American League East into a free-for-all. Among the contenders, Baltimore, where Iron Man Cal Ripken and young slugger Randy Milligan are trying to give the Birds a loftier perch. Cal Daniels has given the Dodgers the kind of power surge that Kirk Gibson provided. And now that the natural is back in the lineup, Tommy Lasorda has reason to cheer. San Diego received a bad break this week when all-star catcher Benito Santiago fractured a bone in his arm. That adds to the burden on RBI leader Joe Carter. And on this Father's Day weekend, a glimpse at the game through the eyes of a son who is in the majors, a son whose father is in the majors, and a son whose father went from college player to President of the United States. Major League Baseball is back on CBS Sports. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel in New York. Welcome back to CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball. We'll be with you now on Saturdays as well as for the All-Star Game and, of course, the League Championship Series and the World Series. But today, we'll train our attention on Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, where the Red Sox visit the Orioles. Jack Buck and Tim McCarver will describe that action as it unfolds. And some of you will see the National League West contest between the Padres and the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Dick Stockton and Jim Cott will man the mics for us there. There's one active score to report today in Detroit, where the Tigers and Jack Morris are leading the California Angels 5-1. That game is now in the 5th inning. When we come back, a tribute to fathers, sons, and their special relationships to each other and to the national pastime.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's pregame is brought to you by Sears is now something for everybody. And by Nuprin, the medicine that gives you big pain relief in a little yellow pill in tablets and caplets.
Of personal stories that portrays the unique father-son relationship that baseball, perhaps more than any other sport, is able to achieve. We begin with Greg Olson, last year's American League Rookie of the Year as relief pitcher with the Orioles.
Our relationship is probably as strong as any father and son relationship goes, you know, and we were very close in high school. Being his coach and also being his father was a unique experience. It was probably harder on him than it was on me because of he had to work a little bit harder to get his job. I didn't hand it to him.
True, he didn't hand it to him, but they were side by side through the formative years, when Greg went 27-0 in high school, including 4 no-hitters and 4 state championships. Greg also won a full scholarship to college.
I was away at school at Auburn, which is about a 20-hour drive from Omaha, so the only way we could really talk was on the phone.
And then as he continued his career and went to the Pan Am Games, he would even call us when he was abroad, you know. He even called us from Cuba one night. Obviously now we get to see the ball games, we know the outcomes. But when we didn't know the outcomes, we could tell by the tone of voice if they won or lost.
Everybody needs somebody to talk to every once in a while, and whether it's their best friend or their dad, you got to have somebody away from the game that you can talk to.
Olson is on his own in the Baltimore bullpen, but as always, his career is still closely watched, albeit from a distance, by his dad back in Omaha, who tunes in to every Orioles game. For a baseball-obsessed person, what could be a better way to relax and settle in? That is until Greg gets the call.
Greg Olson takes over with runners at first and third, 2 down the 10th. The score tied 3-3.
Here's curveball. Here it comes.
Here comes number 2.
This is Charlie.
And the Brewers leave the bases loaded in the 10th inning.
Greg got out of the jam, and the Orioles went on to give him the win. But the evening was not yet complete.
Dad.
Hey, bud, how you doing? Geez, that was a great job.
That was a good win.
How come you went after the big guy with fastballs?
I don't know. I just had a feeling I wanted to go with it, and once it got late in the count, I just decided to throw a curveball, see what happened. Well, in case I don't get a chance to talk to you, I'd like to wish you a happy Father's Day.
Well, bud, I really appreciate that. And we love you very much and very proud of you, and that's quite a gift.
Thanks a lot, Dad. I love you, too. All right, bye.
Reese Ryan is the son of a major leaguer. He got to see his father pitch a no-hitter this week.
Yeah, it was real exciting. My first time to see a no-hitter, and I mean, I was in the dugout and I didn't know if we were going to get it or not. And when we did, it was just, I was glad it was over, but it was real exciting.
I imagine, Nolan, you felt the same way. How was it having Reese there next to you?
Well, I think it made it special that he was there, and then Wendy was also in the stands, because for the 5th no-hitter, they were so young they didn't really remember anything about it, and they weren't at the ball game that day.
Reese, I know that you're a pitcher in Pony League, and in many circumstances that would be fun. But is it fun, and is it enjoyable, and is it easy when you're Nolan Ryan's son? Do people begin making comparisons?
Yeah, it is fun, and they do compare me to him, but you know, they can't really tell. But we're living in Alvin. Most of the people there, they don't really bother me about it.
How do you compare with him?
Oh, I don't know.
Nolan, I know you're scheduled to pitch tonight. You had your back re-examined. What's your condition, and what's the latest on your back situation?
Well, I had it examined on Wednesday, and I guess they determined it more or less to be a stress fracture, and it's a healing one. I had an injection Wednesday morning, and I feel like that the back probably feels better going into tonight's start than it's probably felt in the last 6 weeks.
Nolan, how does that affect you once the game gets underway?
Well, in the prior to going on disabled list, it would continue to get tight and then start affecting my delivery until the point I couldn't pitch any longer. Now it's basically, it's there, it's an irritant, but it doesn't get worse as the game goes on.
Reese, will you be there in the dugout with him tonight?
Yes, sir, I will.
Good luck to both of you. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And then there are those sons whose dads make it to the big leagues in another arena. And as Americans, their love of baseball bridges the age gap.
I was thinking of memorable baseball moments with my dad, and I think the most memorable one for me was in the backyard in Midland, Texas, playing catch. And I remember him saying to me, you know, I can now throw to you with confidence like I did when I was a ball player at Yale. In other words, I had reached baseball manhood at the age of 11 by being able to fire the ball back to my dad and in return catch one of his blazers coming back toward me.
There's something about the game that when you understand it or begin to understand it, you want your kids to get the same enjoyment. It's so hard to describe.
I think he really just instilled in me a love of the game. I mean, I truly love it. And I mean, I love it to the point where I really believe it is an integral part of America and needs to be defended as such.
You don't inculcate that love of the game into a kid. It just kind of comes naturally.
So he never was pressing up against the screen or the backstop when I was trying to hit. But he would watch. He would kind of slide in. Mother was always pressing up against the backstop, keeping score, but Dad was more subtle about it.
My wife went to more Little League games than any mother in America, and for a while kept score at them because she learned to do that when I was playing ball at college.
I was born his sophomore, junior year at Yale, and I would be taken in Mother's arms to watch the Yale Bulldog team play. So not only did he teach me, but I was immersed in baseball from day one.
He's always loved the game. That's why I'm so thrilled that he's now in a different role, but a part of he likes baseball. He knows the game.
Way down deep, he may be saying, gosh, I'm really proud of George for doing that. He doesn't need to tell me that. It's just I can sense that there was a little extra shot of esteem that was generated as a result of getting in and putting a deal together and then ending up in a sport that we both love so much.
So it's just generational, one after another.
He was there when we needed him, and for that we are all grateful. I know I am in particular.
Our special thanks to those illustrious fathers and sons who took the time to share their personal reminiscences with us. Right now, we are getting set for baseball. I'll be here to bring you highlights and news updates throughout the afternoon. CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball continues from the stadium after this word from your local station.
Nestled in the Chesapeake Bay, the city of Baltimore is famous for its beautiful inner harbor and terrific seafood. Have some crab cakes and come to the ballpark, for this is a baseball town and the birthplace of baseball's greatest hero. Babe Ruth was born in 1895, a fact that is preserved in a museum on the site where he was born. His Ruthian feats became legend at an early age here, and Baltimore is filled with reminders that the great Bambino learned his craft in its parts. And today, the Red Sox travel up Babe Ruth Plaza to Memorial Stadium, where they meet the Orioles of Baltimore, as CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a lovely Saturday afternoon in June here in Baltimore. Roger Angel has written, June is when baseball really begins. In June, even casual fans begin to watch the standings. And we're going to look at the standings here, where both of these teams are chasing Toronto. Boston, even on the loss side, a game and a half out. Baltimore in the race, they're 6 out. And we're back after a 6-week layoff. And now we go for 11 consecutive weeks through the All-Star game, then the playoffs and the World Series, all here on CBS. And Tim McCarver, the Red Sox are a different team.
Well, I'll tell you, like colors change in a New England autumn, the Red Sox also have changed players. Tom Bernansky in right field, coming over from the Cardinals. Carlos Quintana, the first baseman, a converted outfielder. Luis Rivera, a trade from the Expos a couple of years ago, is at shortstop. Jody Reed at second base, but the biggest change has been Tony Pena, the effervescent catcher, who has been an influence, a good influence, both in the clubhouse and on the field.
And on the bench today, unfortunately, he's not starting. Meanwhile, the big story here in Baltimore is Cal Ripken. Guess who's playing shortstop today for the Orioles? We asked Frank Robinson, when is the streak going to end?
When he comes into my office and says, I want a day off, or I want a couple of days off.
Cards, and Rex Slider is out there with Johnny Oates with the 4 umpires. Jim Evans has the plate. Darrell Cousins at first, Tim Welke at second, and Dale Ford at third base. It is 80 degrees. Feels a little warmer than that, but it is nice. A nice soft breeze, sunny and hot, the forecast. Too bad we didn't catch Roger Clemens pitching here today, but we'll get him on one of these games, Tim.
Clemens 11-2, and Mike Boddicker 17-3. So the top 2 pitchers for the Red Sox, 18-5 on the year. Clemens just off a start at Yankee Stadium on Wednesday night when he beat the Yankees 4-1.
The Orioles take the field. They're 3 games under 500. They've had a lot of fan support here. The attendance is way up, and the people like their approach to putting a team together, with Raleigh Heeman running the ball club from the front office and Frank Robinson on the field. And we can check them out defensively, Tim McCarver.
Just a remarkable year for the Orioles last year. They set a major league record in fielding percentage. They can catch the ball. John Mitchell is on the mound up from the International League, Tidewater, a 5-0 record, a 1.57 ERA. And he was up in 3 appearances earlier in the year for Baltimore, but sent out on May 1st when they pruned the rosters from 27 to 25. Defensively for the Orioles, Phil Bradley, the left fielder. Steve Finley in center field. He can track them down, even though the Orioles are missing Brady Anderson. They do have Brad Cummins, #1 draft choice of the Braves back in the early 80s. Craig Worthington, the most valuable player of the International League 2 years ago, is at third base. Cal Ripken Jr., his 1,312th game at shortstop. Over at second base, Tim Hewlett, not Billy Ripken, usually Cal's brother's over there, but Hewlett getting his first start of the season, his second. Randy Milligan, formerly in the Mets organization, at first base. And behind the plate, Mickey Tettleton, the switch-hitting catcher. And, of course, as we said on the mound, John Mitchell.
And the lineup that Mitchell will be facing. It is a formidable one. Nobody really knocking the cover off the ball, but nobody, on the other hand, is in a big slump. Wade Boggs is back into the lineup. His left hand's bothering him a bit, but he's in there. And Jody Reed. And then Mike Greenwell. Tom Bernansky. I saw him earlier this year in St. Louis. The designated hitter is Dwight Evans. Ellis Burks in center field. Carlos Quintana at first base. Tony Pena said he's going to catch tomorrow, but he always says that. John Marzano is the catcher, and batting ninth, it's Luis Rivera. Let's look around the ballpark. Last time I was here for the 1983 World Series involving the Orioles in Philadelphia. In the left field corner, 309, then 385. You can also hit it out of the ballpark at the 360 mark. 405 in dead center, right center 385, and 309 down the line and right. The crew chief is Jim Evans, and he is working the plate. And his mates are Darrell Cousins, Tim Walke, you see their hometowns, and Dale Ford. That's a nice thing. Last nice thing to say about the umpires today is their hometown. Leading it off is Wade Boggs. He's been out for a couple of days. He made a tag play and injured his left hand, and it still hurts at the base of the thumb, he told me, and they don't like him here in Baltimore. Well, they don't like him anywhere except in Boston. He can hit. There's Joe Morgan. He's back after a little 3-day sabbatical for the things that he said after a batter was hit over in Cleveland. We start with ball one from Mitchell, and you saw him and I saw him when he wore the Met uniform. Here's a foul out of play, and that evens the count 1-1 to Boggs, who's hitting 276 with 3 home runs.
Yeah, John Mitchell unusually started off with the Boston Red Sox. Well, that is unbelievable. That disparity between Boggs' hitting 375 at home, 157 on the road.
That breaking ball dipped low. 2 balls and a strike.
Mitchell with the Red Sox. He went to the New York Mets in the '86 season in the Ojeda trade. And a minor league deal has him here in Baltimore.
3-1 now to the leadoff man. Now with a hitter like Boggs, who's only hit 3 home runs, you must challenge him here at the outset. And he did. And the shortstop, what a play. And out. What a start. That's why Cal Ripken plays every day, no matter what he's hitting. That's why.
Full extension, you may understand how he makes the play, but how did he make the throw? From one knee. And a nice play on the pickup by Randy Milligan. Well, what a play to start this game off.
That was something. Here's Jody Reed. Reed says to himself, well, I don't think I'll hit the ball to shortstop. He's batting 286. That's low for ball one. And good movement on the pitch from Mitchell. He's had enough experience. If he's ever going to blossom into a major league pitcher, this is a great opportunity for him.
7 starts in the International League at Rochester, a 1.57 ERA. And the one thing Alvin Jackson told me before the game, how Mitchell has changed. He used to have just a fastball and a curveball, but he's added to his repertoire a slider and a changeup.
And a base hit. Looks like it's going to be a double for Reed on that high delivery. There will be no play. Runner at second with 1 out, and a chance for the Red Sox to take a first inning lead. And there are a lot of Red Sox rooters here at Memorial Stadium. That's what happens, Mike. Mike, I'm thinking of Mike Shannon. You get behind on the count, Jim, and you've got to lay it in there.
Now, a hitter is a different hitter. He's an offensive hitter. When he is ahead in the count, a high fastball rifled down the left field line, an easy double for Jody Reed. That for Reed is 17th double of the year.
Strange thing, Tim. They let the ball go by. They would have called it a ball. They really would have. And now the batter is Greenwell, who's driven in 17 runs this year. And now Mitchell gets ahead on the count. And the catcher with the runner at second wants to make sure of the signs.
Well, there may have been a cross-up on the first pitch. You can kind of understand it. Mitchell coming up this morning, as you look at Reed at second base with 1 out. But often the catcher and the pitcher will change the signs with a runner at second base. The reason for that quite obvious. And now Cal Ripken's out on the mound to make sure that if there was a change, he knows about it.
He wants to know about it. Now he'll tell the second baseman. So Ripken goes to talk to Hewlett. Coaching at third base is Rack Slider. He had a record of 2-1 filling in for Joe Morgan. And Al Bumbry is the first base coach. Strike one, the count to Greenwell. Runner at second, 1 out. Over but low, 1-1. hitting much better this month than he did in April and May. And the ball is blowing away. Ball 2.
Well, the concern, I think, Red Sox fan about Mike Greenwell, primarily because of his extra base ineffectiveness this year.
These Orioles need some innings out of Mitchell. Their starters have been bombed out early. Out of play, and it's 2-2.
Mike Greenwell has 60 hits on the year and only 8 extra base hits. Very unusual for a guy who has good power. 14 home runs. He drove in 119 2 years ago for the Red Sox.
And especially when he bats in that number 3 spot, you expect some power from him.
Right.
It's 2-2. And they play him to pull. With Cummings near the line over there on right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he missed with it. 3-2. First man, Boggs, grounded out, and it took a great play by Ripken to take a hit away from him. Otherwise, the double would have driven in a run. It's Reed at second with 1 out and a full count to Greenwell, and he walks him. Two on, 1 out. And that's up and in. Ball 2. And a shot from the blimp high above Memorial Stadium here in Baltimore. It's the MetLife blimp. Joe Whalen and Alan Judd are the pilots high above us. Orioles need the double play. Bernansky gets a base hit, I think. It is going to be caught. What a good play. Boy, we've seen 2 good plays. And with labeled base hit all the way, and Finley took some runs away from the Red Sox. Great play by Ripken earlier, and now one by Finley, the youngster from Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah, the 2 outs in this inning have come on spectacular plays, and this one by Steve Finley. As we mentioned at the outset, the Orioles set a major league record last year in fielding percentage, not in errors committed, but in fielding percentage. They can flat catch the ball, this team.
2 on, 2 out for the DH, the designated hitter, Dwight Evans. Hitting .242 with 5 home runs. Well, Mitchell ought to get the idea now. Make him swing.
Put the ball in play, right?
These guys will help him. 2 on, 2 out. First inning, no score. And that's over but low. One of the ironies of the success of the Baltimore Orioles is they're managed by a Hall of Famer who is an outstanding all-round player, but in the main a great offensive player. But he has stressed defense, and that's why they were so good last year.
That is such a good point. 586 home runs for his career, and Frank Robinson takes over a club and stresses pitching and defense.
Behind on the count, 2-0, and Evans took a strike, and Mitchell is back in the hunt with 2 on, 2 out, first inning. And it'll be fun later to watch Mike Boddicker pitch with a variety of deliveries that he possesses. Evans, 5 home runs, 30 RBIs. And this gentleman who's batting is headed for the Hall of Fame in all probability. Foul as he ducked a pitch, 2-2.
Leads
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Leads all active hitters in home runs with 371, and he has done it quietly. He has played more games in the outfield for his career than Carl Yastrzemski, second to Ted Williams in games played. However, he has not played in the field 1 inning this year.
Mitchell trying to make a good pitch. He just missed. 3-2. And the umpires behind home plate thought he had a strike. Now the runners will go. Reed away from second, Greenwell away from first. And a tough left-handed hitter coming up next. This kid better throw something that Evans will swing at, and he bounces it to Ripken, and of course, no, he's going to go to first. And the inning is over. No runs. A hit and a walk. 2 left. Well, and here is the lineup that he'll be facing. They tell me he could have 9 wins instead of just 7. Phil Bradley, Steve Finley, who made that great play in center, Randy Milligan at first, Mickey Tettleton behind the plate. The designated hitter is Greg Walker. Cal Ripken dropped to the number 6 spot. They think that might help him with his hitting. It has suffered. Craig Worthington at third, Brad Cummins in right field, Tim Hewlett at second, and he is batting 9th. And John Mitchell, their pitcher.
And defensively for the Red Sox, Mike Greenwell in left field. He's had some problems in left field. He was an infielder in the minor leagues. A fine center fielder, Ellis Burks, and an equally fine right fielder in Tom Brunansky. Wade Boggs has improved his defense since coming to the big leagues. Luis Rivera at shortstop. Jody Reed at second. Carlos Quintana, converted outfielder. And John Marzano, formerly attended Temple University in Philadelphia. Mike Boddicker on the mound, who has won 6 in a row.
Bill Bradley is up, 260 average, with 1 home run. I used to watch this fellow play quarterback at the University of Missouri. He was terrific, All-American. And a foul out of play. He wasn't happy when he was playing in the National League at Philadelphia because he said, someday I'd like to play on a winner before I'm through. And he thought last year and again this year the Orioles have a chance. Underneath the glove of Rivera. I don't think he would have thrown him out anyhow.
That's what I said when Ripken fielded that ball over the top of the first.
This one went right under the glove of Rivera.
Boddicker features an assortment of pitches. It's almost as though the catcher has to take the glove off. And that ball did stay down and go under the glove of Rivera. It's almost like a catcher, to give a sign to Boddicker, has to take the glove off and use 2 hands. Fastball, curveball of many varieties, 2 types of split finger fastballs, a changeup, and something that he calls the Vulcan. We'll tell you about it a little later.
And there's a high breaking ball for ball 1 to Steve Finley. What a great play Finley made in the top of the inning.
Good hit and run situation here.
That's a double play ball. 1-6-3. That day, listen to these Red Sox fans. There are 2 out. Here's the coach at third base. That's Major Dad. He's a tough-looking guy, isn't he? Cal Ripken Sr. I talked to him about Major Dad. And there's Johnny Oates, a former catcher. He's the first base coach.
Said Major Dad. I expected to see Gerald McRaney at third base.
I asked him if he watched that show. He said, I'm sick of all that stuff about me being Major Dad and how many games my son is going to play. He's a nice guy. He didn't yell at us. Here is a strike call to the 2-out hitter, Randy Milligan. Milligan had 3 home runs in 1 game earlier this season.
Last Saturday. That's been done 6 times this year, twice by Cecil Fielder.
And once by this fella. Breaking ball, wow. And he caught the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kevin Mitchell of the Giants, Jeff Treadway of Atlanta, and Glenn Davis of the Houston Astros are the other 3 players who have had 3 home runs in a game.
Breaking ball just missed outside. The umpire behind home plate is left-handed, by the way, so some of his gestures pick you off a little bit.
Watch Boddicker drop down, trying to get Milligan to commit. And Jim Evans said he did not commit.
That's up and in, and that makes it 3-2 with 2 out.
You look for so many, as a hitter, you look for so many breaking balls off Boddicker that he has been getting a lot of outs with his fastball.
That's what they tell us. He'll feature the fastball, perhaps here. There's a long fly ball, and it is going to be close. Foul ball. Foul ball off the bat of Milligan.
There's only 1 player who has ever hit a ball out of Memorial Stadium, and there he is, Frank Robinson. I'll tell you one thing, Randy Milligan came close. Right past that scaffolding was Frank Robinson's blast back in the late 60s. Milligan came close then.
Another 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball. Got him. The inning's over. A hit, a double play. Nobody left. 1 inning, no score. Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. 2nd inning, no score. And the Red Sox visiting here, and they brought a lot of their fans with them in the MetLife blimp. Based in Kissimmee, Florida.
None of them came on the blimp, however, right?
No. No score after 1. And this pitcher, John Mitchell, was really helped by the defense. Ellis Burks leads it off. And ball 1. Burks has driven in 36 runs, so pitchers like to work with him with the bases empty. They play him about straight away. And there's one straight away for the center fielder, Finley. This catch a lot easier than the first one he made. It's not too big a center field to take care of here. Y aquí from Venezuela tenemos Carlos Quintana. Nice fella. I visited with him before the game. His English is quite good. Tim, he's from Venezuela. I told him I'd say hello to Andres Galarraga tomorrow when I saw him.
Well, we mentioned Tony Pena having an influence in the clubhouse, and one of the guys he's influenced positively is Carlos Quintana. Very quiet last year.
Foul ball.
Pena, a very conversational guy. He loves to play.
He'll take care
play
of
tomorrow.
both sides of the conversation.
That's exactly right. And Tony has really helped Carlos relax in the major leagues, and that's very, very important, a point that is often overlooked.
With 1 out. That pitch just missed inside. And a ball and a strike. On the bench is Tony Pena. And he has a bad thumb on his throwing hand. There's the strike, and it's 1-2. Pena gives the Boston writers an awful lot to write about. He has a quote a day. He's a fun guy.
Signed a 3-year contract as a free agent over the wintertime for a little over $2 million, a bargain for the Red Sox.
Shortstop Ripken picks that one cleanly. And there are 2 outs.
Lou Gorman, the general manager of the Red Sox, signing Tony Pena. And before that, that was before all the $3 million contracts. So he signed him really at the right time. Cal Ripken signed with the Orioles because he was loyal to the organization.
Here playing for Tony Pena is John Marzano. Marzano 8 out of 19. Had a 4-for-4 day the other day, and he has no home runs. I first met this young man when he was playing for the Olympic team. Well hit ball at the wall, and it is going to be in play. That'll be a 2-out double for Marzano. These Red Sox players all have that Fenway Park swing, don't they?
Well, even Greenwell and Boggs, who are left-handed hitters, can hit the ball with power the other way. Of course, it's bad to have a Fenway Park swing if you're not in Fenway Park.
Well, if Marzano has another 4-for-4 day, they might give Pena another day to get over that bad thumb. This is Rivera batting 9th and hitting .282. Or .262. With a runner at second, 2 out. Boston left a couple in the first inning. There is no score here in the second. They won't worry about the runner. Rivera bounces it to third, and Worthington throws for the out. 1 hit, 1 left. Boston's left 3. No score. For the second, Mitchell has a couple of good innings under his belt. You know, the nicest part about our visit here to Baltimore, we saw Bob Uecker the other night. he's a funny guy.
Bob, the announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to be in Wrigley Field next week, and that's also going to be the site of the All-Star game on July 10th.
And you folks, when you go to the ballpark, might want to do your voting for the All-Star team. Perhaps we'll see some of these players on that team. Well, look at the physique on this guy, Mickey Tettleton. 6'2", 212. And he is sitting on 9 home runs. That one missed, ball 1. This plate umpire has a little different technique. He tosses both hands up there to give the count, even on the first pitch. That's 1-1 now.
Speaking of technique, you don't see too many hitters who approach the ball who start out like Mickey Tettleton. A straight up and down stance. His knees are stanced, and look how he curls that right hand. He cradles the bat. Most hitters start with their knees bent. You rarely, for instance, athletically see a boxer hit another boxer unless his knees are bent. Watch Tettleton, straight up and down. It's like he's waiting for a bus.
Leading off in the second, and the off-speed pitch misses. Prior to that, we saw a couple of pretty good popping fastballs from Boddicker. They tell me he can get it up there about 88 miles an hour. They play Tettleton to pull. He is perpendicular to the ground and fouls this one away. 2-2. No score, second inning. It will be Tettleton, then the DH Walker, then Cal Ripken. Oh, he went for it. And that's his second strikeout for Boddicker. Put that one in a perfect spot, down and in, but out of the strike zone.
Well, he made Tettleton commit early, but there's that erect stance that we were talking about, and you have an awful lot to do when you're a hitter to get in a hitting position when you're that erect. A good curveball from Mitchell. I should say Boddicker, I beg your pardon.
Here's Greg Walker, the former White Sox player. Batted very little this year, and he hits that one foul. And it's out of play. Walker, no home runs, 1 RBI. They're trying to get him into the lineup. I didn't think I'd ever see the day when I would see Frank Robinson, the Oriole manager, as patient as he is. He wasn't as a player. He wasn't as a manager of the Giants when I saw him in the National League. But he is now. There's one for the pitcher to take. And there are 2 out.
To give you an idea of how patient he is, nice play by Quintana, Boddicker covering.
Watch Boddicker look at the ball. He knows where the base is, so he's not looking at the base when you watch him cover over there.
This is what has become a routine play in baseball. Yeah, you got to find the ball before you find the bag.
Well, here's Cal Ripken. They actually booed him the other night. Can you imagine that? Because of his low batting mark, 224. How many home runs a year for how many years? 20 or more for 8 years in a row.
8 years in a row. No other shortstop's done that.
Ball 1 outside. And there's his father coaching at third base. And he ignores the father-son aspect of things.
He won't tomorrow, though.
Yeah. Oh, it is Father's Day. That's a strike, 1-1. I expect to get 8 neckties tomorrow morning.
Maybe 9.
Wow, 9.
Carol and the 8 children.
Oh, okay. I'm not her father. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out to Ripken. And it's 2 balls and a strike on a borderline pitch. Why does Cal Ripken play every day, no matter what he is hitting? Why does he persist and insist? He's second on the all-time list. He'll never catch Luke Gehrig. There's a bouncer to second. And a big hop to Reed. Later, Cal Ripken will answer that question as to why he does play every day. After 2, no score.
The All-Star Game this summer on CBS.
Boggs leading off. 1 ball, 1 strike, and a fly ball, and Ripken can't get it. A little looper. I was going to say you could almost bet that Boggs was going to get a hit because they got him out for the first inning.
Batting only .276 this year. That's the lowest average that he has had at this point in the season. A lifetime 349 hitter. 349, if you can imagine that.
Jody Reed double to left his first time. Boggs the runner. And that's the third Boston hit. They've already left 3 men on base. No score in the third. This batter played at Florida State. And a strike from Mitchell.
Joe Morgan, the manager of the Red Sox, lamenting the fact that the Red Sox have left too many men on base. They stranded 12 in last night's game, a game in which the Red Sox won 4-3. And they have there's only one other team that stranded more runners than the Red Sox, and that's the Orioles.
Well, I got the both of them here. Yeah, that's been the character of Boston this season, unfortunately for the Red Sox. And a foul trying to go to right. That was a good piece of hitting by Reed, even though he fouled the ball off. That's strike 2. Red Sox wear that black armband in memory of Billy Canigliaro. Tony, rather, excuse me. Runner at first, 2 out. Excuse me, nobody out. And the pitch is low. 1-2 to Jody Reed. Lead off hit by Boggs. In the third, no score.
Don't look for the Red Sox to run. They are last in the American League in stolen bases with 14, and they've grounded into 64 double plays. That's the most in the league. Those are the negative side, or sides of the offense. It's still a game and a half behind Toronto.
There's another hit for Reed, and Boggs has no idea about going to third. So the first 2 are on. Boggs down to second, and Reed was persistent in going the other way with the ball and got it up the middle for a hit.
Well, that's what good hitters do, and Jody Reed's a good hitter, batting .286 coming into the game. They protect the outside part of the plate with 2 strikes. Now, what does that mean? That means that a hitter is jammable. You can't protect both sides of the plate, but if you protect away, you may get jammed and dunk one in there. But Reed hit that one well.
And Baltimore needs a triple play. Greenwell walked his first time. They play him to pull. And ball 1. Over at second is Wade Boggs. And Jody Reed at first. Greenwell hits one to first and on through. It's a base hit. They hold the runner up, and the bases are loaded. Nobody out. Tomlin's got the ball back in, but with nobody out, the Red Sox weren't taking any chances, and now they have 5 base hits.
This ball at about a 4-hopper through on the right side. Milligan, because of the runner, Jody Reed, had got a bad jump on the ball. You see how Reed is blocking Milligan on the play? That half step prevented Milligan from possibly making the play, and that's why it went through.
I think you're right. I don't think he saw that ball immediately. Here's Bernansky. He flied to center his first time, and he's up with the bases loaded and nobody out. Scoreless game, 3rd inning. And low ball 1. There's a bad break for the young pitcher. He got the ground ball he was looking for, but it sneaked through. Mitchell. And a pop fly. That's a break. The infield fly rule is called. That's the first out. As Bernansky hit one straight up to the second baseman, Hewlett. Here are the runners. Boggs at third and Reed at second. And Greenwell over at first. Now Mitchell could conceivably get out of it, but he has to deal with Dwight Evans. Boston's out hit Baltimore 5-1. How many times in his career do you think Evans has been up with the bases loaded? 1,000.
Unusual batting style. He holds that bat like he's trying to open an umbrella. Watch how he just lays it out flat. and then he gets up into the hitting position. Look how flat his bat is, and watch what he does when the pitch is on the way.
And a fly ball into left, and that'll get a run home. Bradley makes the catch, throws into third, and the Red Sox break on top here in the third. 31st run batted into the year for Evans. Runners stay at first and second, 2 out. The Orioles will be happy to get out of this inning with only 1 run scored.
Center fielder, Ellis Burks.
Ellis Burks fly to center his first time. There's Evans back in the dugout. These hitters hate to miss that chance for the big hit with the bases loaded, but Bernansky popped out. Evans lined out. And it's up to Burks if the Red Sox are going to get any more here in the third. And if he gets out of this inning, Mitchell could go on to give the Baltimore pitching staff the innings that they need out of their starters. Breaking ball, got it in there for a strike. Down at second base is Reed. And at first, Greenwell. And they're straight away in the outfield for Burks. Prolific RBI man. 2 on, 2 out. Blowing away. Temperature in the low 80s here in Baltimore, and a nice crowd on hand. They've been drawing very well here. They're ahead of last year's pace. And they drew 2.5 million last season. Good fastball, but a missed low, 2-1. That's a pretty good pop on that one, too. Unless we have a microphone in the glove.
Well, Mitchell's not going to overpower you. You've heard of contact hitters. He's a contact pitcher. He only had 15 strikeouts and 7 starts down at Rochester. He was 5-0. But he does put the ball in play. As we said earlier, to go along with his sinker and his curveball, he has come up with the slider and the changeup. He's thrown the slider a couple of times today.
That one by the hitter, 2-2. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Red Sox leading 1-0, third inning. Boston has scored a run on the hits by Boggs, Reed, Greenwell, and the fly ball by Evans. 2-2 is the count. Mitchell gets a little more comfortable on the mound. And that ball is fair. It's going to get 1 more run home and maybe 2. They break Greenwell around, then they hold him up. And it is a double for Burks, making it 2-0. That ball just fair past the base. Reed crossed the plate. Greenwell went to third.
RBI number 37 for Ellis Burks. Watch what happens when the ball hits the wall. Bradley in left field doesn't know whether it's going to hug the wall or carry him out like that. You see Bradley going toward the line. Now on the... Nice try by Brad Cummins. But not in the grasp, right?
Right. He's famous for charging the wall, and he made a brilliant play last year. As we go along here, we'll show it to you, a play he made against Baltimore in this park. Meanwhile, Mitchell struggling to get out of the third. 2 on, 2 out, and it's another hit. And 2 runs will score. That makes it 4-0. No play for Bradley. And the Red Sox have driven home 3 runs after 2 were out. And really, a couple of bad breaks for the young pitcher, Tim, on ground balls that just found the hole.
Particularly the ground ball that Greenwell hit. Milligan appeared to be blocked out by the runner, and he could have probably gotten 1 out on that ball had he not been blocked out. Talking of the Orioles starters, Dave Johnson went only 3 innings Wednesday night. Bob Malacky went 3 2/3 Thursday, and Pete Harnish went 1 2/3, giving up 4 earned runs last night. So their starters have been struggling.
And the the batter is Marzano. He doubled his first time. There's one to third, and Worthington finally ends the inning. It's a 4-run frame for Boston on 5 base hits. They leave a man, they've left 4. And it's 4-0 Boston. We'll return to Memorial Stadium after this word from your local station. Change before this game is over. And you don't want to give a fella like this pitcher, Mike Boddicker, a 4-run lead, and that's what the Orioles have done. Boddicker has allowed 1 hit in 2 innings, and that man was erased in a double play, and it's going to be Worthington to lead it off. Greg Worthington, he's popped 6 home runs this year. Boddicker, a master of many pitches. And ball 1. Missed with a breaking pitch. Fastball makes it ball 2. Brad Cummins will be up there next, and then Tim Hewlett, the bottom 3 in the order. That's in for a strike. That's a strike. 2-2.
Tell you, when you could throw a split finger fastball with a 4-run lead in the 3rd inning, you have a lot of confidence in your off-speed pitch. A 2-1 split finger to Worthington.
And Worthington with an off-speed pitch. You saw Brad Cummins a while ago try to catch a foul ball. He's famous for charging fences. Last year, Cal Ripken hit the ball. Cummins was playing for Cleveland. Up, and a home run. But he's a gutsy guy. He'll try anything. That took a lot of guts to go up over that fence, but it was a home run because he left the ballpark. And now here's Cummins at the plate. Want another look at it?
Looked like he got a little glove slap there from Joe Carter, who was a left fielder for Cleveland at the time.
Now in San Diego. And strike 1 to this batter. He's hitting .295 in an Oriole uniform. And the pitch is low. 4-0, Boston leading, bottom of the 3rd. Leadoff man has been retired. That breaking ball was low, apparently. 2-1. Cummins has 2 home runs this year. For Brunensky. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York for an update.
Well, Jack, they're all finished in Detroit for the day. Mark Salas, a 2-run homer off Bert Blyleven in the 4th inning, helps Jack Morris to the victory over Bert Blyleven. 6-2, Detroit, the final before the 2nd largest crowd of the year, 36,000 plus in Detroit. Right now, back to Baltimore in Jack and Tim.
At Detroit playing surprisingly well. Of course, Fielder has helped them considerably. Batting with 2 out is Tim Hewlett. And a popping strike from Boddicker. See, here the breaking ball strike. Strike 2. See the difference between this veteran pitcher, Boddicker, ahead on the count, and the youngster, John Mitchell, struggling to get ahead on the count. And he wastes one low and away. We're in the bottom of the 3rd, 4-0 Boston.
See, once you get the reputation of being an off-speed pitcher, that's when you can throw more fastballs. 2 starts ago, Joe Morgan was saying that Boddicker got 17 fastball strikes called over a 9-inning ball game. That's a bunch.
He missed with a breaking ball, and it's 3-2, and leading 4-0. He will challenge Hewlett, who is 0 for 2 on the year. Fastball. See if he can hit it. He took it. He struck him out. That's 4 strikeouts in the game for Boddicker, and after 3, 4-0 Boston.
Another special day.
The Red Sox have had men on base in every inning. They've scored 4. They've left 4. And And their number 9 hitter will lead it off. Here's what's transpired thus far. Boston had the bases loaded, nobody out in the third with 1 out. Dwight Evans delivered a run with a sacrifice fly, and with 2 out, Ellis Burks made it 2-0, and then Quintana made it 4-0. Those 2-out hits are so important in baseball.
Yeah, especially after Bernansky had popped up earlier with the bases loaded with nobody out.
And as you saw, Boddicker has faced the minimum. He did give up a base hit, but a double play followed, and here's Rivera 0 for 1. Now he's from Puerto Rico, and ball 1 from Mitchell. You see the difference? Boddicker throws strike 1, and Mitchell throws ball 1. And ball 2.
Very unusual. As you see, Mitchell with another 2-0 count. But the number 9 hole with the Red Sox is batting .307 this year. That's been the most productive spot in their lineup.
There's one into the batter, 2-1.
I guess it's not unusual when you consider that Ozzie Guillen is leading the American League in hitting with a .335 average, primarily batting in the 9 hole.
That's low, 3-1. Mitchell has walked 1, fanned none, and allowed 7 hits. And he can't throw a strike. That's his second walk. Twice in 4 innings, Boston's had the leadoff man on.
Third baseman, Wade Boggs.
And let's see what they do with Boggs up there. Rivera has stolen 1 base this year, that's all.
I'm a little surprised at the Oriole defensive alignment. Wade Boggs primarily a left field hitter, and the Orioles are playing Wade about straight away. Matter of fact, Steve Finley in center field is straight away, but Boggs hits the ball primarily to left field. You almost have to give him the right field line.
Leadoff walk, and now a strike to Boggs.
Give you an idea now, Wade Boggs has hit about 5 times as many balls to left field this year as he has to right, about 3.5 times as many to center. So that gives you an idea of how he hits the ball. Only 11 balls to right field this year.
All in the dirt. That's a wild pitch. Runner at second and nobody out, and the fans are getting restless here as the Red Sox are piling up the lead. I'm sure Tettleton was disappointed, Tim, that he didn't handle that one. And there's Kevin Hickey, the left-hander, warming up for the Orioles. That is a wild pitch. You could tell by Tettleton's actions that he was disappointed he didn't handle it. Runner at second. There goes the double play. Boggs will want to move the runner. He hits it to the pitcher. They've got the runner trapped. Mitchell does the right thing, so does Rivera, but the runner cannot advance, and now they got him picked up. Double play. I think that Boggs was undecided whether he wanted to go there or not, but Baltimore handled it very well.
Well, yeah, you really have to give the defense credit, particularly John Mitchell. He didn't commit too quickly. He ran at Rivera, and now the throw over to Worthington for the tag, and now Boggs had rounded first, hoping to get to second base, and he's too far off of first. I'll tell you, that's the type of fundamental play that Baltimore plays and plays very well.
1-5-3-6-3, 2 out, nobody on. And the batter is Jody Reed.
More than that being bad base running by Boggs, it was good defense and a good execution by Mitchell, Worthington, and Randy Milligan.
Yeah, you could see Boggs, they didn't give him time, so that pitch counts, and it's a ball 2. Even though the batter stepped out, you can ask for time, but the pitch counts if the umpire doesn't allow timeout.
Watch Reed. He's calling timeout, but the pitcher was in his motion, and the slider misses. So Reed fortunate that the ball was a ball, 2-0.
And that double play certainly helped this young pitcher Mitchell to stay in the game. Foul ball, 2-1. You could see earlier when Boggs was hitting that he was trying very hard to pull the ball and advance the runner, but he hit it back to the pitcher and the double play result.
Yeah, but it's hard for Boggs to pull the ball. His natural stroke's the other way. Do you want him to, a .349 lifetime hitter, to try to pull the ball or go with his natural stroke?
There's one for Rifkin. And that's it for the Red Sox. A walk, a double play, nobody left. Bottom of the fourth, 4-0 Boston. Mike Boddicker of the Red Sox throws a variety of pitches, such as what, Tim?
The forkball, actually a split finger, various split finger pitches. This is his split finger. He pushes it back here, chokes it for his forkball. This is his changeup, and the most unusual pitch of all, this is his Vulcan pitch.
Get those out a little wider.
I don't even know how he can grip a ball like that. It's almost like Dr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy. You're an old trucker, aren't you?
No.
Huh? You're not.
No, here's ball one high. We're underway in the fourth.
What'd I say, Dr. Spock?
Yeah.
It's Spock on Star Trek, not Doctor, not the Doctor, just the Spock.
And a fly ball by Bradley, and that ball goes foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I have never known a pitcher that spreads his middle finger and his ring finger to throw a pitch. I've never known of a pitcher who throws that. I was talking to Dennis Lamp before the game. He said he throws that occasionally when we're warming up, and it's baffling.
Score that those Giants have won 13 and lost only 1 in June, and they're winning again. Well, they've got a good hitting lineup, and now they put their pitching together with the help of Burkett and others, Trevor Wilson. This is Bradley who has the only hit against Boddicker. 2-1 the count, and up the middle, he's 2 for 2. Bradley, who came in hitting .260, is 2 for 2, and he's on as the leadoff man. 8 in a row had been retired by Boddicker. Bradley has stolen 7 bases. Let's see how reckless he is with his club trailing 4-0. Here's Findlay, grounded into a double play. His first time up. Started by the pitcher.
One of the problems falling behind as many as 4 runs early in the game, it takes your running game away from you. See if the Orioles ignore the 4-run deficit.
There's a strike call to Findlay. This batter asked me to say hello to his grandmothers down in Paducah, Irene and Mozella. He's a good young player. No home runs for the year. They play him straight away and not too deep. He got a very good swing as Boddicker turned that ball over a little bit, didn't he?
Looked like one of the variations of the split finger pitch.
You know, a lot of times you hear announcers say ball 1 is a curveball, strike 1, that was a slider. Here's a double play ball, we know that. Took the second baseman a little while to get there, and that's made the difference on the play. With Findlay batting left-handed, Boggs was too far away from the base, and that ruined the timing on the play. Rather, Reed was too far over, and Rivera had to hold the ball for a while.
Right, you think about it now. You've got an off-speed pitcher. The left-handed hitter is more apt to pull the slower pitch. And for that reason, Rivera was close to the bag. And as Jack said, Reed had a tough time getting there. Bradley, a slide late. And Findlay safe at first base.
I think you have to cheat a little more than Reed was cheating.
Well, he was just trying to get to the bag. I mean, when you got a 4-run lead, you also have to make sure, one, ignore the double play in certain situations. If you have too far to go to the bag, just ignore it, because that gave Bradley a chance to get down on top of it.
See what Milligan can do. Milligan with 1 on, 1 out. He struck out his first time. He hits very well. in this ballpark. It's a friendly park. Low and away. 1-1.
Friendly Park next week, too, huh,
Ooh,
Wrigley?
that game may never end. The Cardinals at Chicago's Wrigley Field next Saturday. We'll be there. Bring the adding machine. 1 on, 1 out here. And over but low. You know, Tim, last night I spent a lot of time figuring out the magic number for the Cardinals and the Cubs.
And?
As of now, you know what it is?
No.
911.
Little emergency action is called for, you're saying, huh?
That's a strike. Makes it 2-2 to Milligan.
Cards lost to Montreal again last night. The Cubs have lost 2 doubleheaders in the last 3 days. They are really struggling.
We'll be there next Saturday, and that's a fun scene. Off-speed pitch got Milligan, and that's the 5th strikeout. And ball up and in, and Milligan couldn't catch up with it.
Yet again, it's almost like a boomerang. Watch how much this ball curves. He drops down. It actually stayed inside, but the deception was in the curve, not in the location of the pitch.
5 strikeouts for Boddicker, a leadoff single. The runner's at first with 2 out.
Sometimes if you have enough action on a breaking ball, you don't need it in a good location.
Sometimes you're better off with it out of the strike zone. And they'll still swing at it. Ball 1 to Tettleton.
I asked Mickey before the game why he did that, and he doesn't even realize that he's doing it. You see how flat he holds the bat. See how flat it is, and now it slowly gets into an erect position, just like his body.
That's ball 2. That's a unique approach.
It is. When you watch Mickey Tettleton hit, too, you realize how important the fingers are to a hitter.
With 2 out, an off-speed pitch, and he was out in front.
A lot of amateur people will pick up a bat and think that major league players hold the bat in the palm of their hand. That's not true. They hold the bat in the creases between the fingers and the palm of the hand. And Tettleton, a perfect example of that. The fingers more important in hitting than the palms of the hand.
Runner going, and the throw by Marisano is too late. Stolen base for Finley with 2 out. Might help the Orioles who trail 4-0 here in the 3rd. Yeah, gripping the bat's like gripping a golf club.
Right. Good jump by Finley. Frank Robinson not allowing the 4-run Red Sox lead to determine whether he's going to run or not. If running's your game, you might as well take off.
That's number 9 on the year for Finley. And it's 3-1 to the batter. And that'll get a run home. The throw should go to second. No chance to get the runner. It's cut off. Well, Baltimore gets on the board. Stolen base pays off. You can't stand around and hope to win.
And 20 years ago, if you're 4 runs down in the 4th inning, you wouldn't even think of running in a situation like that. But Frank Robinson managing today and not 20 years ago. He's a great player 20 years ago. But having Finley steal the base is the reason they have the run.
So 2 hits in the inning, 3 in the game, and Greg Walker is up. I mentioned earlier he's only batted 19 times this year. Tettleton at first, 2 out, and that ball to the first baseman on the throw from Reed, and the inning is over. But the Orioles get a run, 1 run on 2 hits and 1 left, and after 4 they trail the Red Sox 4-1.
Your attention, please.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. High-performance compact personal computers. Compact, it simply works better. And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows.
This game cruises into the 5th inning with Boston on top, 4-1. And the Baltimore pitcher, John Mitchell, would like to have a 1-2-3 inning. Boston has had men on base in every inning. They've scored 4. They've left 4. They've out-hit the Orioles 7-3. And in addition, Williams has walked 2. Mike Greenwell is first up for Boston. He's been on base twice with a walk and a single. And Tim mentioned earlier that he's disappointed with his power hitting. This is a hitter's ballpark. Let's see what happens here in the 5th. Can't hit that one. Ball 1. Ball 1 from Mitchell. Greenwell's wondering where the next one's going. In the dirt, ball 2. Up on the board. We see 4-7-0 for Boston, 1-3-0 for Baltimore. That ball's in the hole, and the pitcher will have to tell. He forgot the ball. E3. He was looking to see if the pitcher was over there, reached in the glove, and he hadn't dropped it.
Yeah, trying to throw it before he had it. That's only the 5th error for Milligan all year, but you can see clearly that he thought he had the ball in his glove and throw way too late.
And Tim, this young pitcher doesn't need that.
No pitcher needs that, young or old.
He has no strikeouts, a couple of walks, 7 hits. The batter is Brunansky. It's tough for Mitchell to pitch around mistakes. Ball 1. Brunansky 0 for 2 in this one. He popped out with the bases loaded in the 3rd. Boston came back nonetheless and scored 4 times. And what a stop by Worthington. This might be a double play. It is. Boy, is that sensational. We've seen 3 terrific plays by the Baltimore defense today. And that was one of them.
Redeemer at the corners. First Milligan with the error, and now the spectacular play by Craig Worthington for the easy double play.
I guess when Baltimore takes infield practice, they practice throwing from a kneeling position. Ripken did that earlier. Finley made a great play in the outfield. That's the 2nd double play pulled off by the Orioles. 2 out for Dwight Evans. Man, that was a good play. Evans delivered a run with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd, and he's 0 for 1. Breaking ball over, but low.
We talked about Tettleton holding his bat. Evans is similar, though he doesn't, when he ends up to make the approach toward the ball, his bat isn't straight up and down. It's still flat. A disciple of the Walt Reniak school of hitting.
3-0 goes the count. Well, that double play helped Baltimore. He might be swinging on 3-0. Ball 4. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Well, Jack, the National League's RBI leader, San Diego's Joe Carter, has tacked on 2 more. This one gets home number 53 and 54 of the season and gives San Diego a 2-1 lead. They're now on the bottom of the 3rd inning. Let's go back to Jack and Tim in Baltimore.
Joe Carter got a little slow start when he came back to the National League, but he's perking now. This is a happy Warrior. Here's Ellis Burks, and the pitcher got the call on that one. Strike 1. Burks flied out, then he doubled home a run. Runner at first, 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the top of the 5th, 4-1, Boston on top. That San Diego club still in striking distance, but they certainly got a nasty break when they lost Benito Santiago with a broken arm. Popped up. Second baseman calls for it. Finley stays away. The inning is over. 2 walks. Excuse me, 1 walk, 1 error, 1 left. First of all, Cal Ripken is very weary about talking about the consecutive streak, but he answered our question.
Shortstop. Contribute in so many ways playing the game of baseball. You can turn a double play in the 8th inning and protect a 1-run lead. You can, of course, drive in the winning run with the bat, but there's so many little things you can do that are necessary that you do to play on a winning team and maybe contribute to a winning effort that night. And as long as I feel I can continue to go out and contribute, I'm going to continue to go out and play.
1,312 consecutive games. Number 2 on the all-time list. There's a ground ball to the shortstop, Rivera. And a good play by the first baseman. In case you weren't with us earlier in the game, this is a play he pulled off.
And that's what he was talking about, turning a good play, the first play of the ball game, to retire Wade Boggs, going to his left. A nice play by Milligan. But he has had a fall off and a tail off in his batting average the last couple of years.
And so the controversy continues here, but there's no doubt what a magnificent player he is, and we'll probably see him in Wrigley Field in Chicago for the All-Star game. Worthington struck out his first time.
Well, I think we might, because it's voted on by the fans. I'm not too sure whether Cal deserves it this year, hitting .220. Ozzie Guillen is leading the league in hitting, batting .335, we mentioned earlier.
This fly ball will be caught by the left fielder Greenwell. 2 out. Now let's check some of the balloting. Mark McGuire leads the All-Star first baseman in voting. Steve Sachs, Cal Ripken, and Wade Boggs of these Red Sox. Canseco, despite the bad back, leading outfield vote-getter Ricky Henderson, his teammate. It'll be nice to see Ken Griffey Jr. and Terry Steinbach will be the catcher. And that's the way you vote when you come to the ballpark. Punch him out. This pitcher, Boddicker, is punching him out. There's 2 out, and there is a strike to the batter, Kaminsk.
You mentioned Santiago. He was the leading vote-getter in the National League, but because he broke his arm, it may be Mike Scioscia, who is second in the voting.
And he's a very fine player. He kind of keeps that Dodger club together. He's the one constant they've had over the past few years with the Dodgers. 2 out and a 2-strike count on the batter.
Well, you often get the player that's having the best year in the position in an All-Star game now, but not all the time. Had more of a chance of doing that when the players voted, when the managers and coaches voted. But I think the fans should be able to vote. It's a popularity contest, and it's a spectacle. I mean, that's what it's for.
The batter tried to time that off-speed breaking pitch and pulled it foul. Canseco, we wish him well with the bad back. He's on the disabled list. What a sensational player he is. He might even make it back by All-Star time.
He was in traction for about 2 weeks.
Cummins spoiled a very tough pitch, and it stays 0-2. More baseballs for Jim Evans, the plate umpire and the crew chief. 4-1, Boston leads it with those 4 runs in the third. He got jammed in that third inning. A fly ball by Evans for 1 run, double by Burks for the other, and a 2-run hit by Quintana. Baltimore's RBI by Tettleton. That one just missed. 1-2. And another foul. Prior to today, Boddicker pitched 87 innings, 75 hits, 6 home runs. That's not an unusual number, pitching some of the games in Fenway Park. Against him, teams are batting .229. He is tough. Fly ball, foul, and a play. And Quintana has it to end the inning. We're in Baltimore, and the shot from the MetLife blimp. And 5 innings have gone by. Boston leads Baltimore 4-1.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Perhaps before the day is over, we'll get a look at Greg Olson in action. What a great relief pitcher he is. 3-0 with 14 saves. Meanwhile, his teammates have to crawl back a little closer in this game. They trail 4-1, 6th inning. And John Mitchell has to hold them close. Carlos Quintana is up. Drove home 2 in the 3rd inning with a base hit. There's a strike. Mitchell hasn't been getting ahead of many hitters, but he does this time. That pitch inside. Padres and the Dodgers. They're 2-2 in the third. And the Giants winning again in the fifth over the Braves, 3-0. Lost only once in June. Here's a ball in left center field, and Finley can't get that one, and it's off the wall. That's the second hit of the day for Quintana. This one a double and the 8th Boston hit. As soon as that was hit, Finley, the center fielder, knew he had no chance.
And I think when Quintana made contact, he thought the ball might be out of there. It did hit about 3 feet from the wall.
Yeah, he had to speed it up.
Yeah, right. He ends up with his 10th double of the year. But boy, is he a fine-looking young hitter. You mentioned Galarraga earlier. He looks like Galarraga a little bit. Yeah.
Here's a punt. Boston playing for the 5th run. And oops, out at first. Marzano is credited with a sacrifice. And Milligan was stepped on. The trainer is immediately out of the dugout. The play went 1-3, and the runners at third with 1 out. And the trainer and Frank Robinson come putting it out there.
Well, the reason his foot was stepped on is John Mitchell gave him a dead fish. Here it is right here. And watch the arc of the ball when Mitchell throws it. Instead of throwing it directly, a play that should have been made easily became a close play. And Milligan couldn't cheat off the bag. This is why first basemen cheat off the bag anyway, to clear their foot. But he had to stay on the bag, and Marzano steps on it. We'll see if Randy's all right.
The trainer is Richie Van Sells. He's out there. Jamie Reed works with him. Look out in the bullpen. Kevin Hickey, for the second time, is warming up. And Rivera, right-handed batter, is due up, so looks like Mitchell is going to stay in there, and it also appears that Milligan is going to stay in there, too.
Worthy of another look. John Mitchell, of course, had only 1 play, but watch the arc of the ball. He throws a dead fish over there. Milligan has to reach up. His foot's exposed, and Marzano steps on it. That should be a bang-bang. If Mitchell gives him a firm throw, Randy clears the foot. You just have a sacrifice and no injury.
Is that like clearing your throat? When you clear your foot like that?
Well, it could be, but not for me.
I think we might see a squeeze play here. Rivera is a very good punter.
Joe Morgan does like to squeeze. There's some managers that don't like to do that. Davey Johnson, the deposed manager of the Mets, was one guy who didn't like to squeeze, but with Rivera hitting, it's a possibility. Infield in.
Infield comes in for the play at the plate with a runner at third and 1 out. The runner is Quintana. Squeeze play on the first pitch and a foul. Rivera is grounded out, walked, erased in a double play. I've seen a lot of managers come right back with the same play. You know, one of the reasons Joe Morgan is doing this, as we watch Rivera kind of jab at the ball, is that Joe Morgan, the Boston manager, wants that 4-run lead, because then a grand slam can't beat you. I know it sounds very elementary, but you'd like to be ahead by 4. So Morgan was trying to get the runner home, and he might do the same thing again. Hit batsman. That's one way you stop the squeeze play, by throwing in on the hitter, and perhaps Mitchell thought it was coming again. Now it's first and third with 1 out.
Now that's something I've never agreed with. Casey Stengel used to say the best way in a bunting situation is to throw at the hitter. And I don't agree with that. I think you pitch out. If you throw at the hitter, you might hit him. Think about this. You hit him. And now it's first and third and 1 out. It's one of those old plays that I don't think's been analyzed enough. Sometimes tradition takes precedence for common sense in baseball.
Mitchell leaves. And the left-hander pitcher, Kevin Hickey, dashes in out of the bullpen. The pitcher, John Mitchell, gave Baltimore 5 1/3 innings. Been charged with 4 runs, leaves 2 on. Gave 8 hits, struck out none, walked 3, hit 1. And Kevin Hickey takes over.
His 22nd appearance, a 1-2 record. The interesting thing about this move, Frank Robinson doing his homework, Wade Boggs has never had a hit against Kevin Hickey. There you see the numbers. Hickey is designed to be used primarily against left-handed batters. And there's Boggs, who is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. And other guys who Wade Boggs has never had a hit against. Bob Welch, 0 for 15. Doc Medich, you remember him for the Pirates and the Yankees and the Texas Rangers. He's retired. Kevin Hickey is 0 for 8 against Kevin Hickey.
Well, the Red Sox could certainly become quite comfortable here in the 6th inning. They're already leading 4-1. They have men on at first and third with 1 out. One thing about Boggs is that the odds that he'll strike out are very low. He'll hit the ball. Hickey, in his 22nd appearance, infielders looking for 2. And Quintana's over at third. They bunted him over after the double, and then Rivera hit by the pitches at first. And ball 1, and they might squeeze with Boggs.
Yeah, lefty and lefty, 0 for 8, lifetime.
First and third, 1 out. He hasn't been hitting him. Why doesn't he try to punt him? And a throw over there, and you could hear the coach yell, back, back, back. Boggs in this game is 1 for 3.
Run in this situation also to stay out of the double play. If you do and a ball's hit to the infielder, if you're the infielder, you may think about coming home.
You'd have to look there.
Yeah.
Zimmer would do it, wouldn't he? He'll do it next Saturday for us. Foul on a half swing makes it 1-1. First and third, 1 out. Hickey in relief of Mitchell. Looking for 2. Boggs trying to add to the 4-1 lead. Another throw over. He used to be with the White Sox. Up and down in the minor leagues. Boggs on a 1-1 count takes it high. Stadium in Baltimore. We're in the 6th inning of the game. The Red Sox went out in front 4-0. It's 4-1 now. Boston with a great chance to add to the lead. Outfielders play Boggs a bit to the opposite field. And a base hit in the left center makes it 5-1. Rivera goes on to third base. They hold him up there on a double by Boggs, his 2nd hit of the day. So that run is charged to Mitchell, who left a moment ago, and it's 5-1. 2nd and third, 1 out.
Wade Boggs has missed 2 games this week because of that injured left hand. And he fights this ball off. Telling me before the game that when he makes contact, he has had some pain in that hand. Predominantly left field hitter, finds a hole in left center. RBI number 22 on the year and his 15th double.
You folks remember that visual we gave you a moment ago, the way he hits that ball to left field. That's typical of him.
Also his first hit. Now he's 1 for 9 against Kevin Hickey.
The infield is in, and the batter is Reed, and ball 1. Boston leading 5-1. If they get any more, the Orioles will really be in trouble. We're in the 6th inning. And Boston has a good bullpen. Murphy and Reardon and the others. They've earned their runs. 5 5 runs on 9 hits. Way high to Reed. That's ball 2. A base is open and Greenwell next. You really love it in this game when that pitcher comes in and gets that double play ball for you, but that didn't happen. Hickey behind on the count and gets a strike. Let's take a look from upstairs. See that infield playing in for the play at the plate. Good picture. Worthington, Ripken, Hewlett, Milligan. Runner at third, Rivera. That's up and in, and 3-1. Boggs down at second. So a rather lackluster game for the Orioles. They didn't get the good starting pitching to match Mike Boddicker. And they trail here in the 6th. Remember earlier we talked about Boston and the many people they've left on this year. They've been getting them home with 2-out hits. Now they need a 1-out hit. Pitch inside again, loads them up for Greenwell. That's the 4th walk given to Boston to go with 9 hits and a hit batsman. Bases loaded, 1 out. The infielders will drop back at second and short. Greenwell has been on base 3 times. A walk, a hit, and an error. He's only driven in 17 runs, and he has a great chance here. They play him to pull. Chopper foul. This is always interesting. Left-handed batter against the left-handed pitcher. You don't see it very often, really, in this day and age with all the switch hitters and all.
Kevin Hickey, as we explained earlier, is used by Frank Robinson primarily to get lefties out. And the reason he is so tough on left-handed hitters is he runs the ball in on him. He ties them up. That's what he did to Greenwell on that first pitch. It's tough to get your bat extended against a pitcher like Kevin Hickey. He really ties you up inside.
If he comes after you inside, which Hickey does ordinarily. There's a double play ball to Ripken. Whoops. Out. Game's over. It's only 1 run for Boston. They got 1 run on 2 hits. They leave a man. They have left 6. And we'll return to Memorial Stadium after this word from your local station.
The second baseman here is playing Greenwell to pull, and look how far he has to go to second base to complete the double play. And that gives the base runner at first base a chance to get up on top of him and take him out of the play. Nice play by Tim Hewlett. Watch the runner at first base. That gives him a chance to get on top of him, and Hewlett completes the double play. Nicely done.
And that bailed the Orioles out and kept the score 5-1. And the leadoff hitter is Hewlett, about whom we were just talking. And he fouls one against Boddicker. Boddicker was on the bench for quite a while as Boston batted in the 6th. Let's see if he's still strong. He's allowed only 3 hits, 1 run, walk, none, struck out 5, and working a strong game. Breaking ball is a strike, and that's 2 of them on Hewlett, who is looking for his first hit of the year. He's 0 for 3. Wasted pitch. 5-1 Boston, bottom of the 6th. Hewlett missed the breaking ball, giving Boddicker his 6th strikeout, and that sends us to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Jack and Tim, let me show you a pretty nice play out in Los Angeles by Roberto Alomar at second base. Does it himself, but the go-ahead run scores from third in the person of Eddie Murray, and the Dodgers lead at 3-2. They're now playing the bottom of the 4th. Jack?
That was a good play.
That's some range, isn't it?
I'll say.
Hmm.
There There is one out here. And there's another hit for Phil Bradley. He's 3 for 3, spraying the ball all around the park. He has 3 of the 4 Baltimore hits. So Bradley's on with one out. And Finley comes up. And he'd like to get down ahead of the big bopper, Randy Milligan, who will be next to the plate. Well, when they were trailing earlier by 4 runs, Baltimore stole a run. Might do the same thing with Bradley. Bradley has stolen 7 bases this year. He's on with one out. Going to be fair for Marzano. 2-3 on the putout, and the runner advances. Finley is out. Marzano chased the pitcher away, knowing he had plenty of time to make the play.
Yeah, it's a much easier play for a catcher. A catcher has to pivot to throw it. Marzano has to throw in front of him. He's just thinking about first base. Was a wide throw, but you make sure one with a 4-run lead.
And the batter is Milligan. As far as the Orioles are concerned, he could help, but he has struck out twice against Boddicker. They give him fastballs. They keep it well off the plate. Started him with a breaking ball. The runner is going to try. He will score, and it's 5-2. It points out one big item here. And that is that even though Finley tapped out and the catcher threw him out, he moved the runner from first to second, and that helped him get a run. As long as you don't strike out in a game, Tim, it makes such a big difference.
Well, it's getting middle to late innings now. That I think the Orioles need a big bop right here. You know, you can tack on, but they got too far to go. It's like trying to save money with the savings account, drawing 5% interest. It doesn't come quickly enough.
Now the breaking ball, and Milligan stayed right with it. He hit it just where he was trying to hit it. And try to pull the ball. And this is Tettleton, and he could make it a 1-run game. The crowd's alive. And there's the Boston manager, and there's the Boston bullpen.
That's Jeff Gray warming, and Joe Morgan told me he would be the first guy up today if Boddicker got in trouble.
Double play ball. There are 2 out, and the play to first, and the inning is over. But 1 run for Baltimore on 2 hits. They leave 1. They've only left 2. Now we've played 6, and it's 5-2 Boston. Into the 7th inning we go here in Baltimore Memorial Stadium. Boston's not only scored 5 times, they have left 6 and hit into 3 double plays. Let's look at the American League West. Chicago darn near did it last night, Tim.
They had a 4-1 lead, and Oakland came up with 4 in the top of the 8th inning to win 5-4. But what a job Jeff Torborg has done. Jeff Torborg, matter of fact, and Frank Robinson, good buddies. Jeff Torborg succeeding Frank Robinson in 1977. When Frank was fired from Cleveland, Jeff took over. They're very close friends.
And the White Sox this year are doing what the Orioles did last year.
Yeah.
Here's Kevin Hickey on the mound. He allowed a hit, and he gave a walk, but got out of the 6th inning. And Tom Brunansky is up. He is 0 for 3. There's Rene Gonzalez. What about that number, 88? Well, when you come to Baltimore, you can't get number 8. That belongs to Cal Ripken. So he said, well, if I can't have 8, give me 2 of them. Rene Gonzalez. People, when he was with Montreal, people used to say, bonjour, mon ami, comment ça va? He'd say, sorry, and then they'd see Gonzalez, and they'd say, como está? He'd say, sorry. Here's a well-hit ball by Brunansky for a double to start the 7th inning. First hit of the day for Bruno. Uh-oh. Great throw by Bradley. Good tag by Hewlett. And Brunansky was running hard all the way. He just couldn't get there.
Yeah, sometimes you run hard, but not fast.
I didn't think on a grass field like this they'd have a chance to throw them out.
What makes this ballpark particularly dangerous when you hit a ball down in the corner is the carom. And Phil Bradley plays the carom very well. A one-hop throw gets Bernansky by 3 strides, or 3 arm lengths. But because of the angle of the walls, it makes the carom to the left and right fielder much easier than in most ballparks. So balls down the line, you really have to be careful if you don't run fast.
Yeah, that picked me off. I thought it'd be an easy double for Bernansky. And this one is popped up foul. Milligan chases it. Nothing doing, and it counts 1-1. Bruno was running hard, Tim.
Yeah, I thought that was well said. He's running hard, but not fast. But with a 5-2 lead, you got to make him throw you out. And that's what Bradley did. Good play.
1-1 on Evans. He's walked, driven in a run with a fly ball. He's 0 for 1. Hickey taking a little time out there on the mound. And like the way the baseball was rubbed up.
I think you've really seen in this game what the Orioles represent. They're a great defensive ball club. They've made 4 good defensive plays, but they've only scored 2 runs. They have to get good starting pitching, and they haven't gotten good starting pitching this last week.
42,000 on hand here today. 42,000 plus at Memorial Stadium. 7th inning. Outside to Evans, 2-2. MetLife blimp is 194 feet long. It's about 1,500 feet up. Sending us pictures from the blimp, such as this. And that ball is slicing and going foul. It stays 2-2. I showed you the dimensions earlier. It's only 309 down the line here. You hit a lot of home runs in this park.
This ball tailing away from the line, and it hits up on that roof. We'll try to explain those 2 lines there to you after this pitch.
Broken bat pop fly. Drops in. So consecutive hits, but Bernansky was out trying for second, and Evans is on base for the 2nd time.
You might think you have double vision if you look at those lines, but what that yellow line to the left of your screen is, it's simply an extension of the stands. If, for instance, a ball bounces, there's a right field corner, a ball bounces and bounces up on that roof, it is indeed a ground rule double. So there's some confusion with those 2 lines in right and left field, and we hope we've cleared that up for you.
Here's Ellis Burks, had an RBI double, and he's 1 for 3. 1 on, 1 out. And ball 1. Red Sox might do a little running here to try to avoid the double plays. They've hit into 3. They lead 5-2 in the 7th. They've out-hit Baltimore 11-5. Ball 2 to Burks from Hickey. Red Sox are going to do any running, they'll do it here. They got 1, and they get 2. That's a 4th double play. They want to argue about that play at first, but it's a double play. 5-2 to score. The Boston manager, just back from suspension. He said he was happy his pitcher hit a batter. Was it worth it?
Oh, I had to do that. That's no question. But what did I do?
Well, you told somebody to throw at somebody.
No, I didn't. I did not do that, sir.
Oh, you endorsed it?
I did not write it down.
You said you had a meeting.
We did not have a meeting. Now, should we talk about something else, Chuck?
One more along that line. Would you do it again?
You got to do it. What did I do?
He knows what he did. And apparently it was worth it, Tim, a 3-day suspension, but he got the message across. You throw my hitters, you're going to get hit too.
I think the people in Boston knew what he did when he won 19 out of 20, taking over for John McNamara back in 1988. One of the very few times you change managers in the middle of the season and end up winning a division. Cito Gaston did it last year.
Baltimore trails 5-2. They're still in it. Bottom of the 7th. Ball 1 to Greg Walker. Tomorrow on CBS at 1 Eastern. Live flag-to-flag coverage of the Valvoline Detroit Grand Prix. The race through the streets of the Motor City. 155 miles. 62 laps, and it's live on CBS Sports tomorrow at 1 Eastern time. Boddicker has allowed 5 hits. Walked none. Struck out 6. 1-1 pitch. 2-1. The crowd wants some Oriole action. And if Boston can get Boddicker through this inning, Tim, they'll be in good shape.
Jeff Reardon in the bullpen. We saw Jeff Gray warming up in the bottom of the 6th.
Bouncing ball to Quintana. I asked Joe Morgan about his first baseman, Quintana, who has played in the outfield. He said, yeah, he's made all of the instinctive plays. He's made some great throws. He looks like he's going to be able to play there.
He's got an outfielder's arm playing first base. He's had 7 assists at home plate. That's a bunch for a first baseman.
And you're right, he does look like Colorado. He's built about the same, and he is from Venezuela. Here's Cal Ripken, 0 for 2. Grounded out twice, made a sensational play in the field, and takes ball 1. Let's see here, Tim. Here's his ball club trailing by 3. 1 out, 7th inning, ball 1. Let's see if Ripken is still swinging or if he takes a pitch. I'll guess the latter. And ball 2, and now even more so, he'll probably take a pitch.
Well, it used to be the case. We talked about it in a prior broadcast a couple of months ago, that it used to be the case as you see the Dodgers on top of the Padres, 4-2 in the 5th. 6-0 Giants over the Braves. That game in the 6th inning.
And we were wrong. He was swinging at 2-0.
You just forget that now in baseball. Whether it's right or wrong has nothing to do with it. It's just the...
Good afternoon, everybody. The National Weather Service has now issued a tornado warning for central and eastern Mercer County. This tornado warning is in effect until 4:45 p.m. this afternoon. A tornado was spotted near Aledo, south of Aledo, which is about 30 miles south of the Quad Cities, moving east at 30 miles per hour. Again, a tornado has been sighted in Mercer County around Aledo. If you are in that area in central or eastern Mercer County, you want to take cover. Just get into a safe area. Eastern and central Mercer County, a tornado warning. A tornado has been spotted near Aledo. It's moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. Again, get into cover if you're in central or eastern Mercer County. We'll have more on this as details permit.
And Dave Magadan getting a chance to play. You've seen that, Tim.
2 4-hit games this week. Also, Darryl Strawberry of the Mets. 417 this week, and Tim Wallach very hot.
Yeah, once he got started, he stayed hot.
He has led the 80s in doubles, not only this year, but the 80s.
Look out, here's a pitch that goes right over the head of Craig Worthington. Count 1-1. That was just a breaking pitch that got away. It doesn't hurt Boddicker, though. 1-1 the count. And he came back with another low breaking pitch, a little more velocity on it, and it's 1-2.
More importantly, it doesn't hurt Worthington.
Worthington is struck out, flat out, batting with 2 out, and it's inside. 2-2.
Sometimes when pitchers get tired, they start leaving the breaking ball inside to right-handed hitters. And it appears that Boddicker on this humid day, 80 degrees, is a little tired.
Foul ball.
That's 4 in a row he's left inside.
With 2 out in the 7th inning. The Orioles have managed only 5 hits.
Sometimes when a pitcher's tired, he doesn't follow through, and the good breaking ball is caused with a good follow-through.
It's 3-2. One thing he doesn't want to do, leading by 3, is put anybody on with a walk. You can hear him, see him huffing and puffing out there. You're right. And he threw it low and he walked him. That's his first walk. And comes with 2 out in the 7th inning.
Comments.
So Boddicker will try to pull himself back together and finish the 7th inning. He has only 1 complete game. You could see him huffing and puffing there a moment ago. He deals with Kaminsk, who is 0 for 2. And this batter could make it a 1-run game. Kaminsk has 2 home runs this year. He got that curveball over. Worthington, the runner at first, with 2 out. Ball 1, 1-1. For Boddicker, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits. And a strike. Marzano doing the catching. Tony Pena told us before the game he hopes to be in there tomorrow. Former Olympic player John Marzano. Saw him at the hotel this morning. He has 2 little daughters. Breaking ball, and it's just out of the strike zone. 2-2. Total of 96 pitches. After this inning, he may have had enough. Nothing doing in the Boston bullpen at the moment. He can't get that breaking ball over, Tim. He's either hanging on too long with the pitch or letting it go. He doesn't have the right release point.
That's why I don't think pitch count alone is the true indicator of whether a pitcher's tired or not. You have to take more things into consideration. The weather, for instance, very muggy day here in Baltimore.
Runner going with 2 out, and strike is called on the inside corner. An off-speed pitch on 3-2, and it froze the batter. 1 left for Baltimore. They've left 3, and they trail by 3 after 7.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. Sears, there's now something for everybody. And by Michelob Dry Beer. Once you experience the bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Into the 8th inning. A view from up above from the MetLife blimp. 5-2, Boston on top. There's the line score. Boston's left 6. They hit into 4 double plays, so they've dominated this game. And we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Orioles. It's Mark Williamson, who has a record of 4-1, a great earned run average of less than 2, making his 26th appearance.
That leads all Oriole pitchers in appearances with 26. He was 10-5 last year with 9 saves. Coming to the Orioles with Terry Kennedy in the Storm Davis deal 3 years ago. Boy, he has really done a good job. Mark Williamson.
And first up, Quintana. He's had 2 hits. Single and a double, driven in a couple, scored a run. Williamson, the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Orioles. That's on the corner, and that's a strike. Williamson from Texas, lives in California. 1-1. Boston on top, 5-2, batting in the 8th. He's a fast worker. 2 balls and a strike. Bottom 3 in the order for Boston here in the 8th inning. Swung right through that one, 2-2. Quintana. And Mark Williamson following Mitchell and Hickey to the mound. Hickey an inning and 2/3. No runs, 3 hits, 1 walk. after Dwight Evans drove in the first run with 2 out. Quintana's base hit drove in a couple of more. Then Tettleton drove in the first run for Baltimore. Then the score went to 5-1 and 5-2 now, after Milligan had sent Bradley home in the 6th. We're in the 8th. And ball 1 to the batter, John Marzano. He's doubled 1 for 2 with a sacrifice. Good play from the outfield by Hewlett. 2 men out, and Rivera is up.
Luis Rivera.
Nobody on here in the 8th. This copyrighted telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Strike, and Williamson is making short work of the visitors' half of the 8th. Boy, he works quickly. And he got a breaking ball in. Strike 2. Rivera has walked, been hit by a pitch. 0 for 1. 0-1. They play this batter straight away. And you're a second strikeout for Williamson. Going into the bottom of the 8th, getting late for the Orioles. They trail 5-2.
The All-Star Game this summer on CBS.
You see the hitters in this inning will be Hewlett, Bradley, and Finley. 5-2 Boston, bottom of the 8th.
And one of the prides and joys of the head groundskeeper here at Memorial Stadium, Pat Santarone, his tomatoes. They've been written up in the New York Times. He and Earl Weaver used to have tomato contests to see who could buy and grow, who could grow the biggest tomatoes. Told me today before the game that he had one that weighed 3.5 pounds, 3 pounds 9 ounces. And he also works at the racetrack, Pimlico Racetrack.
Yeah.
And the fertilizer he uses on the tomatoes comes from Pimlico Racetrack. True story.
Here we go into the bottom of the 8th inning. And Hewlett takes a strike, and he is fanned twice. Looking for his first hit of the year. Strike 2. And this is another example of the patience demonstrated by Frank Robinson. He could go to the bench and send up a left-handed hitter. He doesn't have that many left-handed hitters on the bench. We may want to save that batter. Here's ball 1. There's Frank Robinson.
Well, he really doesn't have a defensive second baseman. Billy Ripken, with a pinched nerve in his lower back, it's been bothering him. He can play.
Fly ball, short right. And Bernansky chases the second baseman away. One thing about Bernansky, he always catches the ball with 2 hands when he can, every time. He's an excellent right fielder. And the people in Boston will come to appreciate that fact more and more. Always 2 hands, if he can. There's 1 out. Hewlett's 0 for 3. And the next batter is 3 for 3. That's Phil Bradley. He has 3 of the 5 Baltimore hits. He helped Baltimore score in the 4th and the 6th. Ball 1. Has his average up to 270. High fastball from Boddicker, we mentioned earlier, has only 1 complete game this year. And a strike. Leadoff man is gone here in the 8th. And this home crowd of almost 43,000 wants more than they've seen so far from Baltimore. Two and 1. And a foul, 2 and 2. On the bench for the Orioles, the only left left-handed batters or select. Devereaux has just been reactivated. Gonzalez, Hoyles, Melvin, and Billy Ripken. 2-2. Bradley is fisted and he fouled the ball. I was surprised when I came here, I really was, about how well regarded this player is, Billy Ripken, as a defensive second baseman. As some say, he's one of the top 2 or 3 in baseball.
Johnny Oates, the first base coach for the Orioles, telling us that he was better than Ryan Sandberg in his opinion.
Here's a fly ball, pretty well hit by Bradley, and it is over the head of the left fielder Greenwell, and that's the 4th hit of the day for Bradley. A 1-out double. Greenwell didn't play that one very well, Jim. He got turned around the wrong way. He thought he could catch up with it by backpedaling, but he never did catch up with it. Good level swing by Bradley. Now watch Greenwell.
He doesn't turn the wrong way, but he turns back to face home plate too quickly. He's forced to backpedal, and the ball ends up bouncing in the middle of the warning track. That ball should have been caught.
In case you're wondering, you Boston fans are wondering whether or not they're getting anybody ready out beyond the right field wall. They are. Runner at second, 1 out. Finley takes a strike as Boddicker turned that ball over a little bit. A couple of left-handers are warming up. Tom Bolton and Rob Murphy. Murphy's on the right. Tony Pena's out there in the bullpen. And it's 1-1 to the batter. Joe Morgan probably had Pena driving him crazy on the bench and said, go out the bullpen. Here's a chance for the Orioles to dig in on the 5-2 lead. They've been out hitting 11-6. Bradley at second. And 1 out. Finley the batter. Milligan next. Important for Finley to get on. 1-1 the count. Cover is the pitcher. Good play by Boddicker. Quintana gave him a nasty throw, but Boddicker got over there quickly enough to be able to handle it 2 out.
Well, the reason the throw was bad, it was late, but some pitchers have to assume the position of the first baseman. Because he dropped the ball, Boddicker is there. Now he stretches like a first baseman would. Nice recovery by Quintana.
And the runner to third with 2 out.
Boddicker, a good fielder, in 1984 recorded 49 putouts, tying an American League record that had been set 80 years earlier. 49 putouts is a lot of putouts for a pitcher.
Finley can run, but Boddicker was over there well before the batter. Here's Milligan. He has an RBI single. He's 1 for 3. And he is their best RBI man. He's the one they most want up in this spot. He's hit 10 homers. Ball 1. Ball 2. One complete game for Boddicker. Gave up a walk in the 7th, the only man he's walked all day. Runner at third, 2 out. And a fly ball to right field will be handled by Bruno. 2 hands and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Baltimore has left 4. So the Red Sox will go into the 9th with a 3-run lead. Ninth inning, 5-2 Boston. Wade Boggs will lead it off, and how good a hitter is he historically? Well, let's check. In this century, Ty Cobb, 367. Next in line, Schuler's Joe Jackson, 356. Next. And third in line, Rogers Hornsby, the Raja. And right behind those 3, and batting .349 for his career at this moment, Wade Boggs with 2 out of 4 today. And a strike. Mark Williamson, the pitcher, made short work of Boston in the 8th. 1-1. Boy, this fella sees the ball so well all the time. See if you can denote the concentration when you watch him hit. see the ball and hit it. He doesn't care where it goes. Nice level swing. Never pops the ball up on the infield.
Speaking of caring where you go, at the end of the 1991 season, it'll be decided whether Pete Rose goes in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
Here's the fly ball into very deep center field. Can Finley get it? That's over the wall at the 4:05 mark. Third hit of the day for Boggs. Makes it 6-2, and he's out of whatever was bothering him. A slump before the injured hand. And that's his 4th home run of the year. He doesn't care where it goes.
Well, you know, he's got a lot of power. He had 24 home runs back in 1987, only 65 now for his career. I mean, he juices this ball right over the deepest part of the ballpark.
Running away a little bit, but he latched onto it.
It's running away all right, 405 feet away.
Now a strike from Williamson to Jody Reed. Reed has had 2 hits, plus a walk. All the Baltimore Orioles trailing 6-2. That one's popped up to the right side for the second baseman, Hewlett. Want to watch that nice level swing of Boggs again.
Right on top of the fastball. And the head that you were talking about, Jack, that head right down, seeing the ball make contact with the bat, I'm telling you. Single, double home run for Boggs this afternoon after missing 2 games this week.
And the batter, Greenwell. He grounds it to Milligan. To the pitcher. 2 out. Well, Mike Boddicker, there's Boggs in the dugout, and right in there with him is Boddicker, is happy to have that extra run to work with.
Talking about Pete Rose now going in with Tom Seaver. He could go in at the end of the 91 season. I mean, there's a lot of sympathy of having Pete Rose in there, and you see Joe Jackson, Shoeless Joe, who was never proven guilty in the 1919 Black Sox scandal. I think if Rose goes in, Jackson should be, no pun intended, a shoe-in.
A shoe-in. 2 out here. Bernansky is up. Bruno 1 for 4, and then he was out trying to stretch the hit into a double. He has 5 Boston home runs. And the ball inside, 2-0, 2 out.
There's a group of people from South Carolina, Joe's home state, who have formed a group trying to get him in the Hall of Fame, and I support that group. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Good strike from Williamson. Game next Saturday is at Wrigley Field, folks, followed by Bernansky. And if you've never seen a Cardinal Cub game at Wrigley Field, it is a sight to behold. It is about as much fun as you can ever have at a baseball park. So if you're not going to be there, tune in next Saturday on CBS and our game of the week. One of the 2 will be presenting next Saturday. Here's the bouncer to second for Hewitt. After the home run, 1, 2, 3, 1 run, 1 hit. And into the bottom of the 9th, 6-2 Boston.